Hey everybody, it's Barbie at Nellie and Ruth Designs. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be working in my dream book. It's been quite a morning. Yesterday I thought I was all set with pulling some images. I fooled around with those for a while. Oh gosh, and then today I realized, I didn't have everything ready and I didn't want to appear discombobulated, for y'all, but I still feel discombobulated because I'm not quite sure how I want to do my pages. I don't even know if I have all my materials, so I may be off and on a little bit. Probably more off than on today. But at any rate, before I get started with the book and picking out pages and all of that good stuff, I want to tell you there's a little thing I learned today. The video that I had showed you of my craft haul using these Sizzix Thinlits, well, I kind of forgot that when you use the Thinlits and you have really intricate little cuts here that you need to pop out, these here, these are the crocheted Thinlits. You have to have this board. It's called a precision base plate for intricate Thinlits. And it's compatible. It says use with Big Shot Plus will result in reduced cutting pad and die life. So that's one thing that you need to know. Here it says this is not a cutting surface. Use reverse side. So don't try to cut on this side. You have to use this side here. And this is a metal, it's a metal plate. And you have to have this for these very small, intricate dies. Otherwise, it will only leave an impression in your paper and you won't be able to get it out. So I still have a couple little things I have to pop out here that I see. I wanted to mention that straight away because if you go out and you purchase these Thinlits, or I got mine, I got these at Hobby Lobby. I just want to make sure that you have the proper tools, because I don't want you to get home and say these don't work. So in my infinite wisdom, I did just try to use these like I would an ordinary die, and I thought, these are not working. So I went on the all-famous YouTube and I searched for Tim Holtz Thinlit crochet dies, and the woman on there reminded me that you needed to have the special plate. And I ran right over to my little box area and I pulled it out, and it made an amazing difference. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then it really doesn't take that long to punch all of these little items out, all the little, see, this is what they look like when they come out, all right? And this would make a really good car craft, because you could just sit in the car and punch all of these out. This is my hooked one. This is my flat one. And this tool here works really, really well to do that. So I just wanted to show you how quickly this does go. I don't want you to be discouraged and say, oh, I can't punch all of that. I can't take the time to punch all of these out. But it does go quite quickly. And this little bugger here, I'm not sure where I got this. This might be part of a set that I got from Martha Stewart. But if you can find something, see, this has a little tiny round bulb at the end. That works really well. So that is my words of wisdom for you this morning on the Finlets. All right, so let's get started. I want to thank everybody for joining in and following along, for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Love all your comments. So these were my other pages that I had done. I need a double page again. So I think I'm going to just continue with the next page here from my fly fishing trip. We're going to come right over here, which will kind of tie in nicely because this was about fly fishing with my dad. And today I'm going to be talking about, let's just set this aside a minute. I'm going to be talking about these two wonderful, my wonderful grandma, Nellie, and my Aunt Ruth. And I scanned a couple of very old photos that I have. And I tried to give them a look that I wanted for this book by editing the photos. And we will get into Nellie and Ruth, and it just happens to be the name of my, when I started my Etsy shop, I picked Nellie and Ruth Designs, and I will get into that. But first, I want to cover these two pages here with print. So I'm going to pull some of my pages here from this little gardening book that I have. Get some pages here, and I ran off some other pages as well. I think I have these pulled out. I will also use those. I ran these off as well. I'd like to rip and tear these. These two pieces here, I went on to Flickr, and when I go to Flickr, I type in the Commons. I don't know if it's the Commons or just Commons, and it brings you a wide variety of old papers, images. This here is another image that I scanned off of Flickr, and I downloaded, I printed that out, and this here also is from Flickr. These two, obviously, I believe when I was in the comments, I typed in religious or religion, and these are a couple of images that came up that I just thought were really, really nice. I wanted to work with at some point. So I ran those off today, and we'll be working with those. So I'm just going to start. I will start this page here. I don't want to use that because that has a nice scene on it. And I'm just going to start these two pages as if you would a masterboard. There isn't going to be any rhyme or reason. I just want to get some things down. And I think what I'm going to do today, my other big dilemma today, do I use my Yoo-Hoo? I guess I'll use my Yoo-Hoo. Aren't these cute little, I thought at the time I was buying larger Yoo-Hoo sticks, and then these came through when I got them. These were tiny little sticks. I don't know if I want to use the Yoo-Hoo or if I want to use my my glue, my Royal Decoupage glue. But I'm going to get these 2 back pages set here. And this morning was quite a trial for me because, like I said, I really don't know which direction I'm going in. And I had out so many different items today. I'm going to put this behind here so I can see where my page ends. Sometimes I have a problem when it's on top of the others. But I really had no idea. And I'm still a little unsure as to what direction I'm going to take in working in my in this dream book today. I know what I want to talk about, but I want to wait until I get the back cover here done. So I guess I'm just going to have to keep you. And see, I didn't want to put all of that down there. Because I wanted to incorporate this. And I'm just not thinking, but that's okay. And I do want the sides to, so I will, like I said, I will get this first side done here. And then I will finish the second side because it's really kind of a no-brainer here. And I do want to put some washi tape. I'm not distressing this here. I do not want that. I don't want that to be a focal point. I just want somewhat of a I'm going to say muted. I don't know if that's even the word I should use. Muted background and just something that looks old and vintagey. All right, so I'm going to work on this side right here, and then we will start the compilation and the story. All right, so I have, obviously you can see I have the other page all taken care of. So let's move these out of the way. I also got a little curl going on here. need some straightener. So I'm just going to try to fix this just so it's not in my way. And that will calm down. But I just want to try to get it to lay somewhat flat for right now. And all these little edges that are coming up, I'm not concerned because I'll have things going over it. But the one thing I'm going to do, let's see if this is wide enough. It might not be wide enough. I just want to put a little bit of washi tape here in the center. And I may need a little bit wider so that gets right down in that crease there. So let's see what we have. That's not wide enough. I do have wider washi. Wider washi. I have this here. Maybe this will be good here. I have this really wide one. That might be pretty. Let's take a look at that. Obviously, I haven't used this yet, and I really am trying to use what I have. That's why, obviously, I went out and bought some new die cuts. Oh, get off my finger. And things, but you know what? A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. There we go. All right, so if I can just make sure this doesn't stick to me. My desk is a mess. I have a very small, I should have put a lot of my items I wasn't using. I had my crackle out this morning. I had, which I may still use, some of my spritz. I may want to add a little bit of spritz here and there on the page. I don't have my messy mat out, so I'm going to have to really be careful. Isn't that pretty? I think that will be pretty for. And we're going to put that right there like that. And I will just rip it a little bit here. And I want to get this tucked down in there. So I'm going to just, use my fingernail, crease it, rip it, tear it. I guess I will just, that's okay. I did tear that a little bit with my nail, but that's all right. That's just to kind of hold that together a little bit, bring it together. So, all right, so that's done. All right, so as you know, this is my dream book. And this is where my hopes and dreams and bucket lists and things like that will come true. So this particular 2 pages is, I often think about, all right, so let's go back to my name, Nellie and Ruth Designs. Back in 2011, I started an Etsy shop, and I was making love notes. First, I was making jewelry, and I did well with the earrings, things like that. But I just didn't want to do that. That wasn't my passion. So I started making these little tiny love notes, and they took off. Very, very cute, little tiny envelope, and I made a little tiny paper, a little note card inside with a heart, almost like a button heart. And I was thinking, you know, what I really wanted to have in my Etsy shop. I wanted to make sure that people told each other that they loved one another, that they could write a little note to their husband, in the hopes that, even their children, they got these cute little notes. They were only like 2.5 by 2.5 inches. You could put them in their lunchbox, your children's lunchbox, with a little note. Tuck them in your husband's suit jacket, in a back pocket, one in his wallet. And I just got thinking about what direction I wanted to go in. And when I came up with the name Nellie and Ruth Designs, I wanted to pay tribute to my grandmother, my grandma Nellie. This is one of my favorite pictures of her. They lived in an old, I'm not going to say a farmhouse, but everybody back then, grew their own vegetables. My grandma was born in 1887, and she passed away in 1972. And she grew up very, very poor. And this photo of her here, it's a reproduction. I scanned it, and I kind of edited the photo itself. I wanted to focus on my grandma's face. I don't know what year this was taken. I don't know if she was in her late teens, early 20s. I don't know if she was married. I don't know. There's nothing on the back of the paper. So I can create a story myself. And the story that I have about my grandma Nellie is that she's gazing out the window, just wondering what her future's going to bring. And that's where my Aunt Ruth, this is a picture of my Aunt Ruth. Now, my Aunt Ruth was born in 1911, and she passed away in 1921. She was 10 years old. Again, I do not know how old she was in this photo. And when I asked my dad didn't know how old she was. My dad was born in 1920. He was born in June of 1920, and my Aunt Ruth passed away in February of 1921. And she was 10 years old, and she died of influenza. And all I know is my dad said that, after my Aunt Ruth passed away, relatives had told him, his Aunt Fanny and Aunt Emma and his Aunt May, that these were all my grandma's sisters, my Aunt Dorothy, Emma, Aunt May, that she really was never the same. She had a lot of hardships. My grandmother did. Again, she grew up in a large family, and when my grandma married my grandfather, after my Aunt Ruth passed away, she had my dad. Well, she had my dad in 1920. My Aunt Ruth passed away in 1921. And after that, my grandfather took my uncle Bob, Robert, and I think he might have been, my dad's brother might have been 7 or 8. He was younger than my Aunt Ruth. And my grandfather took him and told my grandmother that they were moving to the state of Washington, and she didn't want to go. She was scared. She didn't know. She lived in a little town. She couldn't, I'm sure, imagine leaving her family to move out to a new state. She didn't know what was ahead of her if she did that. So she stayed behind with my father. And my grandfather took off. And I don't know if she ever saw him again. I don't know if he came home. I do have other photos when my dad was older, maybe 10, 11 years old, I'm thinking maybe he did come home to visit once in a while. I don't know. So there's a lot of stories that I can, you know, put this. Maybe she's dreaming about, maybe this is after my Aunt Ruth passed away, and she's thinking, you know, about Ruth, about her daughter, what it would have been like to have, you know, raised her, seen her, you know, get married, have children, what kind of relationship her and my father would have had. So these two pages are kind of bittersweet, but the one thing that I wanted to create these pages is because I do think often, you know, when I pass away, they always say, you know, your loved ones, who will greet you? Who is going to cross you over? Who's going to bring you over? And I dream that it's going to be my parents and my grandma and my Aunt Ruth. I would love to have my Aunt Ruth greet me. I didn't know her. My father didn't know her. And that's one of my dreams, is to have these two beautiful girls greet me in heaven and bring me over, take me over to the other side. So that's why I say it's a little bittersweet today. And I do have these beautiful angel images. These all came from Spain, and I thought I would incorporate some of these as well on the pages today, because I just think that they're so pretty. So that is the route I'm going to take. So the other thing that I got readied was I had some scrapbooking paper, and this is the paper here, and you can see it's raised on one side, and it has a really pretty, just has a nice texture to it. And I thought it looked old, vintagey, Victorian style. So I did go ahead and I cut some pieces out here. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use these or not, but I have these set aside. And then, again, I do know this side here. I'm going to start with my Aunt Ruth. And I really like this here. I think it's youthful. You have these look like apple blossoms with the birds. And again, I got this off of Flickr. And I am just going to rip and tear this here to put on the page to feature my Aunt Ruth's picture. And I'm just going to put Ruth right here because I just think she's adorable. I don't have a lot of pictures. I do find it very interesting, though, that the photos that I do have of my Grandma Nellie, obviously, you know, when Ruth was alive, and I just have a few pictures of my grandma with my Aunt Ruth. She's all smiles, and she's just happy as can be. My grandma, that is. And then after that, when I have pictures of her with my dad, their smiles have left. There's no more smiles on my grandma's face. Maybe, you know, a couple that I have a really cute picture of my dad on a really old-fashioned bicycle, and my grandma Nellie is holding a bunny rabbit. Some pictures I'm trying to restore myself to put in a family photo album, but they're so old. I'm basically, I am just kind of taking what I can get, and not making a big deal about it, because I'm just really thankful that the pictures that I do have, that I have. So, but that's why I just made copies of these pictures here for my glue book. And I'm also tempted, I don't think I'm going to keep, I don't know if I want to keep this in a square style, for my Aunt Ruth, or if I want to tear around it, I could make somewhat of an arch. I thought about doing that. Oh, these are the decisions that I wonder sometimes. I think I will at least. I will rip and tear like this. Maybe I will just do it really with no rhyme or reason. Whoops. Just take a little bit. I don't want that sharp angle there. Do that. Then I can move that up there a little bit. And then, let's see, we have these. We have her. Don't really want her. Some singing. This little one is cute, playing her trumpet. This is the little sweet one, though, that I like. That is perfect for this here. I just have to decide. I want to, where exactly do I want to place this? She is a little angel, isn't she? She's so sweet. Look at that bow in her hair. So maybe. Maybe. Now I also cut out, I have these here, but I also would like to use I'm going to square this up a little bit. I'm going to square this up just a little bit here. Try to keep it straight. I don't want to. And then I'm going to take and use this. So once I get a little, got to get my thought process going on here. I'd like to use that there. Maybe I could put this on the bottom of the page. That would be pretty. To put that like that. I could do that. That would fit just fine. You can see I don't really know where I'm going with this. I just have to really, I just have to have it hit me. So over here on this side, let's move over to Nellie. And so what I thought of doing with my grandma is I am going to, there's two options. This here I have, and I thought one option could be, let me cut her out because she's not going to stay. She's not going to stay in this white frame. So let's cut my grandma out. I didn't really, you know, my grandma lived with her sisters, and it got to the point where they all wanted to disperse, and they weren't going to live with each other anymore. So I don't remember this. I must have been a baby, but my mom told me, and I do have pictures of my grandma coming to live with our family. And then I guess that didn't work out too well. So my dad put her in a home. It was not a nursing home. It was a home. There was a beautiful, beautiful house about 20 minutes from where we lived. And the local doctor said he bought this home, and that's where a lot of widows went and women that couldn't be on their own. So he told my father that Nellie was more than welcome to come and live there. So I guess it was going to be a really good fit for her. And I can remember visiting my grandma there. And my grandma was a very quiet woman. So these little pieces here, I have just cut off of here. I want to try these first. I do have another idea that I could use, but we'll see. She was a very quiet woman. And she just didn't say a lot, you know. So we would go to visit her, and you know, it would be my dad would talk to her and my mom, and she probably didn't know what to say to a little girl. And I can remember sitting on her lap, and she just had a really nice scent about her. Her skin was just very, very soft, almost like a baby skin. She was tiny. She was small boned like I am. And she was just nice to be around. Then, because my grandma was such a sweet woman, she shared a room with another gal. And my grandma got up one night, asked her roommate if she wanted a piece of pie and a cup of tea. And she said yes. And my grandma, I don't know if she fell out of bed. I don't know if she tripped on her nightgown or whatever. And she fell and broke her hip. And that was not good because, like I said, my grandma she was thin. She was very, very small boned. And then after she fell and broke her hip, she had to go to a nursing home then for rehab. And I think the doctor was afraid to have her come back to the house. So there she stayed. And I can remember visiting her. The name of the residence, the nursing home she was at, was called Pleasant Valley. But when you're a 10-year-old girl, 8-year-old, it wasn't very pleasant because there was so many people that, they would cry out, and it was scary. It was scary for me. And I remember I never wanted to go. I didn't want to go see my grandma because I was very scared. And then it just, she just went downhill, and she really stopped talking. And it got to the point where I would only see her at Christmas and Easter and maybe one other time. If my dad said, come on, honey, let's take a ride over. We'll go see grandma. So I didn't really know my grandmother. I don't, and I'm sure back then there was a lot of people, they didn't have relationships with their grandparents like children do today. I mean, my parents, oh my goodness, they were such a part of my boys' lives. It was just a totally different generation. So that's why I think maybe I think about my grandma an awful lot. Because I would love to sit and have a conversation with her and spend time with her and talk to her. I got to talk to, her one sister, May. She lived next door to me. And, but, you're a kid. You're in junior high. You're in middle school. You don't know what to ask. I could have asked my Aunt May a ton of questions about my Grandma Nellie. But I didn't do that. You just, I don't know, you just have other things on your mind. You're a selfish teenager, I guess is the only way that I can put it. So I think that's why I think about her quite often. And I wanted to name my little business when I had it. I wanted to name it after my Grandma Nellie and my Aunt Ruth, just to, keep their memory alive and make sure that, hopefully they know that I'm thinking about them. So again, I don't think I need to do a lot to these pages. I want to really focus on my, the people at hand here. I do like this. So I'm going to put, and I'm not going to do, I thought about doing some fun spraying behind. Let's see here. What do I have? I just have some, I do have this. Maybe I will put a little bit of spray on here. Let me take all of this off. This is Heidi Swapp Color Shine. This is called Blush Rose. And I do have I did have a paper towel to blot. And maybe I'll just put a little bit of a little bit of that on. And I do have my, because I didn't use my messy mat, I want to get this right off of my desk if I had any overspray. So that is called, I do like that. That is called, I don't know if you can, I think you can see how it's a little rosy there. I'm going to change the lighting a little bit. I don't know if my, there, let's do that. Let's do that. That might be a little bit better. But it gives it just a nice little tint. A little bit of a blush tint. So, and I think this here, again, I am not going to accent this because I don't want to take away from the photo. But on this here, instead of using my glue, I'm going to use my tape roller. And I'm going to adhere this here. My tape, I'll let that, that'll give that a chance to dry a little bit. And I don't want to stick this down just yet because I want to position Ruth's picture here. So we have this here. And I think what I'll do, because I really would like to line this up. I think I'm going to do this, do an all-in-one style thing again here. We'll get that evened out. And again, you don't have to, if you're doing a dream book, I don't want you to think that it has to be so fancy or that you can't create one. It's just to spend some time, if you're doing it with a family member, to spend some time, you know, with that loved one, just to spend time with your own thoughts and your memories. It's not, remember, your book is for you. It's not, you know, you don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to keep it out on display. You can put it in a private spot. You know, if you do Bible study, you could bring it out, especially if you know, if you have a dream book. I mean, how wonderful would it be to make a dream book of your loved ones that, you know, have gone before you, and if you created one and you do Bible study, you could take it out and you could pray for them. I know some people don't like to, I don't like to go, sometimes I feel guilty because I don't go to the cemeteries. I don't go to visit the grave site of my parents. I used to, but I don't know. I would much rather You know, I have a photo on my desk of my mom. I talk to her, you know, often when I'm here doing things. Same with my dad. You know, I sometimes I have little conversations with him in the car, especially if, you know, a song comes on that he liked, or he loved music. And I don't know, I'm just not one to go visit a grave. Plus I find it very emotional sometimes. But so if you know, created a dream book, what am I doing here? You know, such as this, and you had some relatives in it, you could, you know, definitely take it out while you did your Bible studying, and you could, you know, have little chats and do prayer time with them. But your dream book is for you. So it doesn't, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, put in there whatever comes to mind, what you want to put in it. And I'm just here to help you, you know, decide what that might be, how you want to do it. There is no right or wrong. And I'm going to cut this little bit out here because, you know, that's just what I do. So you can kind of see why, I guess this morning I was kind of thrown because I just feel like I'm so far behind with creating this. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And, oh, come on, Barbie. My art glitter glue. It was hiding over here behind the... I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go in with this. But look at that cute little face there. I can only imagine what a little imp she might have been. And I'm sure she was somewhat of a tomboy. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I picture her running and playing, and this big corsage that she has on her, the front of her dress cracks me up. It just cracks me up. She got that big bow in her hair, but this corsage, I don't know where she got that. But you know how all little girls are, they want to try different things. And I think I might tear a little bit of this photo so I can wrap that up around So I can wrap that up around. There, like that. All right, so let's get my Grandma Nellie down. I'm going to take a little bit more of this white border off. I don't want that white border on there. Just a smidgen. Okay, and I didn't use any. I do like that, but I mean, I had these again over here. I mean, I'm actually wondering as well if maybe these, I think these might be just too big. I think they're too clustery. I think it's just too big. I need something a little more delicate. So I'm going with this. Let me get this down. I'm going to put that. I'm not going to adhere that just yet. I want to make sure I have room for that angel. Yep, that's good. All right. All right. And we're going to put this down next. Okay. I remember there was one story my dad told, a couple stories that really, one is not funny, but it is. But he told me that almost every night, at least a couple, 2-3 days a week, my grandma would send him over to her sister's house, my great Aunt Emma. And my Aunt Emma, my great Aunt Emma, was my dad's Aunt Emma because it was my grandma's sister. He said for the first 16 years of his life, I found a card and he said, for the first 16 years of my life, this woman was my angel. And I'm sure she's one in heaven as well. My Aunt Emma worked. I don't think my Grandma Nellie ever, I know my Grandma Nellie, she worked for a little bit. She cleaned homes. But my Aunt Emma worked in a textile factory. Her sister did. My great Aunt Emma. I call her my aunt. I never called them my great aunts. And my dad said that Grandma would always say, Stanley, go over to Aunt Emma's house and ask her if I can have a cup of sugar or a potato or whatever. And my dad said he never realized until he got older that when my grandma asked him to go, it was always at dinner time. And when he got there, my Aunt Emma, his Aunt Emma, always insisted that he sit down and have something to eat with her. And he'd say, no, but Ma needs, she'd say, no, Ma doesn't need anything. You sit down and you have dinner here. And my dad realized that they had a pack, and my grandma, when she couldn't feed my father, would send him to her sister's house. And he never came home. When he left, he never came home with that sugar or the potato or whatever else my grandma asked for. And she never asked him for it. Never asked him why he didn't bring it home or where was it. And he goes, I learned years later that she sent me there for food because she didn't have any. So and then he told me one time, oh, he was so upset. He said he was about 8 years old, and his mother, my grandma Nellie, gave him a dime to go to the store and get something for her. I don't remember what it was. And it was in the winter, and she put the dime in his mitten. And she said, Stanley, you go to the store and you tell so-and-so this is what I need, and you give him the dime and you come right home. Well, being a typical boy, he got in a snowball fight with the neighbor kids. And his mitten was so wet that when he went to throw the snowball, it stuck to the snowball and it came off and it went flying. And when he went to get his mitten, the dime was gone. And he said it was sheer panic because he couldn't go to the store. He couldn't get what his ma needed. Oh, and he was just, he was so scared to go home and tell her that. So that was another day that they went without. But can you imagine getting so upset over losing a dime? And he said, you know, I never wanted to disappoint my mother again. All right, I think that's good. I think that is good. Okay. So we are going to put that right there. And again, you don't have to use a lot of items. I think for me, the hardest part is gathering what you want to use on your dream pages. And it's not something that you have to work in all the time. It can be, you know, you can do it when the spirit moves you. You don't, if you have other things that you would like to work on, go work on them. But if something moves you and you want to get your dreams down or a memory, that is the time to work on it. All right, I'm going to get a couple of little sayings and stickers, and I'll be right back. All right, I have a couple sayings here. These are from my, these come from my Happy Planner, and my daughter-in-law and son got me the Praise the Lord stickers for that this past Christmas. And I have a perfect one here for my Aunt Ruth. I have this cute little sticker that says Child of God, and I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to put that right down here. And I think I'm going to highlight around that just so it sticks out a little bit. So here we have our little child of God, which she is. And then I have this really pretty. I'm going to put this grace and peace, because that's what my Grandma Nellie appears to have right here, is grace and peace. And I'm going to obviously put that wherever it lands. I'm going to put that right there. Grace and peace. So, and I'm also going to put one more for my Aunt Ruth. I'm going to put this little joyful, because she does look joyful in that little picture. Let's see, where can I put this? You know what, I'm going to put this right on the angel. I think that would just add a nice little touch to that joyful right there. So that is those are my dream pages for this time around. Dreaming that when it's my time to go, when God calls me, that I will be reunited again with my Grandma Nellie and my Aunt Ruth. And until then, I'm going to carry on their name through Nellie and Ruth Designs. I will be thinking of them each day. So I really hope that you are working in a dream book of your own, a memory book, a wish book, whatever you'd like to call it. It's just a nice way to spend some quiet time, some personal time with your own thoughts and your memories. So thank you everybody for joining in. I hope you liked these 2 pages, and I will see you in my next video. Alrighty, bye-bye.